MSW Media. Big shout out today to Helix Sleep. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz and they'll match you to a mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. Helix is offering 25% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for listeners in honor of Black Friday. Go to helixsleep.com/dailybeans and use code HelixPartner25.
News with swearing. Daily beans, daily beans. Daily beans, daily beans.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Beans for Wednesday, November 15th, 2023. Today, chaos in the Republican caucus in Congress as Senator Markwayne Mullins challenges a witness to a fistfight, McCarthy sucker punches Burchette, and Comer flips out when Moskowitz raises the land swaps with his brother. Meanwhile, the Senate Rules Committee advances a resolution to promote the military nominees blocked by Tuberville, and House Democrats to the rescue as they pass a clean CR to keep the government open. An ex-Fox News reporter sues the network for firing him over challenging the big lie. DA Fani Willis renews her motion for a protective order over discovery after the proffer videos of those who pled guilty are leaked to the press. Donald Trump reposts a call for a citizen's arrest of New York Attorney General Tish James and Judge Engoron. Jack Smith files his motion to lift the D.C. gag order with the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. The U.S. says Hamas is operating out of Shifa Hospital and other Gaza hospitals. And George Santos' ex-campaign fundraiser pleads guilty. I'm Allison Gill.
And I'm Dana Goldberg.
Whew, quite a news day, Dana.
It was, and the news stories are bananas. Like, the shit the Republicans pulled today, Bernie Sanders had to scream and tell a senator, act like a senator. Like, I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, a fist fight with a hearing witness. I mean, and there was a sucker punch. Like, I'm going to talk about it, but it was bonkers today.
And women are too emotional to lead. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my tweet today on all of those things, right? And I think Jasmine Crockett put out a pretty good tweet about it as well. If you're not following
Jasmine's
her, you
amazing.
She's great.
The best.
Now, also later in the show, we're going to be joined by the host of the Lights On podcast on the Midas Touch Network. Her name is Jessica Denson. You've heard her here on the show before. We're going to talk about her big win against Trump in court. And we have a patron happy hour this Friday for the Daily Beans at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. If you're not a patron yet and you want to become one, you get these episodes ad-free and you get them early. Plus, you get all kinds of other cool benefits and bonuses. The weekly wrap-up for the Daily Beans at the end of the week. You get to join us on our happy hours and ask me questions, and we can have chats while we have cocktails and mocktails. Also, when we go on tour, you will get first access to VIP meet and greet tickets, and we're going to probably start having an annual MSW Media Leguminati Summit.
Amazing.
Somewhere in the country for patrons. It's going to be fun. So sign up at, where is it? Patreon.com/MullerSheWrote. I'm all, where? Patreon.com/MullerSheWrote. All right. With all the news today, we have a few quick hits.
And to make a long story short, too late.
All right. First up, Jack Smith has filed his 79-page motion to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals to lift the stay on the limited gag order issued by Judge Chutkan in D.C. And as I predicted, the language Trump used in his New Hampshire vermin speech this past weekend, where he called Jack Smith a deranged thug and then attacked Jack Smith's family and his wife, that is in this filing as a reason to reinstate the gag order. The hearing is November 20th in the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. We will cover that filing in depth on this weekend's Jack podcast.
Thanks, AG. And DA Fani Willis has filed a renewed motion for an emergency protective order over discovery in Fulton County case after videos of proffer sessions with Sidney Powell, Scott Hall, Ken Cheesebro, and Jenna Ellis were all leaked to the press. Now, the DA's office says they believe the videos were leaked to intimidate and threaten the witnesses and have requested an emergency protective order be issued now and then scheduled a hearing to hash out the details. Now, she also said that going forward, proffer videos will not be shared with defendants, and instead, they will be made available to their lawyers at the DA office. Now, they can view them and take notes, but will not be allowed to record them.
Yeah, and what's really special is that David Schaefer, who is an indicted person in the racketeering case. And well, actually, I don't know if he's been indicted yet. I think they're still probing him because Fani Willis couldn't do it because she had to recuse because she hosted a fundraiser for his opponent. But he's a former chair of the GOP down there and in Georgia. Or maybe he's the current one. I don't know. It's a mess. But anyway, he filed an opposition. He doesn't want there to be a protective order. He thinks the witnesses should be able to share this stuff to intimidate other witnesses. So
wow.
Interesting that he is opposing that. Also, Donald Trump has reposted a call for a citizen's arrest of New York Attorney General Tish James and Judge Engoron, who's presiding over the $250 million civil fraud suit against the Trump Organization, Trump, and his adult children, except for Ivanka. In response to the former president's reshared call for a citizen's arrest, former U.S. Attorney Barbara McQuade told Newsweek in a statement, "This move is incredibly reckless of Trump," explaining that someone can view this post and take violent action against James and Engoron. McQuade said, in addition, Trump risks incurring the wrath of Judge Engoron in the New York civil case. Currently, the gag order imposed by the judge relates solely to comments about court staff, but this statement could prompt the judge to expand its scope. All right, those are the quick hits. It is time for the hot notes. Hot notes. All right, this next story comes from me, Allison Gill, from the Daily Beans. Republicans in Congress are living in some kind of drunken bar brawl or schoolyard fight today. Meet me out by the tetherball courts. Mercury is not in retrograde. I checked. I like to do research for this program. So I don't know what's going on, but NPR congressional correspondent Claudia Grisales reported that while she was talking to Rep. Tim Burchette, I think it's Burchette, Kevin McCarthy walked by and shoved him, causing Burchette to lunge toward the reporter. The reporter thought it was a joke, but Burchette's back was to McCarthy when he was hit, and then he yelled after McCarthy, asking why he hit him and calling him a coward. Then McCarthy denied it, and Burchette said, "You got no guts. You did so. You did so. Did too. Did not. Did too."
Oh, goodness.
The reporter said it right there. "You heard her. What kind of chicken move is that? You're a pathetic man. You're so pathetic. What a jerk. You need security, Kevin." Now, Burchette told CNN, "You don't expect a guy who was at one time 3 steps away from the White House to hit you with a sucker punch. It's just an unfortunate situation, and I feel sorry for him. It's a sad commentary on McCarthy and his career." And get this, Matt Gaetz has sent a letter saying that he should be punished for sucker punching, or
Wow.
McCarthy should. Yeah, so Gaetz is now in the fight. So now it's a brawl. And if that weren't enough, check out this back and forth between Senator, I'd like to remind you he's a senator, Markwayne Mullins, and the president of the Teamsters Union, Sean O'Brien, during a committee hearing today.
Now, let's talk about Mr. O'Brien himself, his behavior. As everybody knows, and it's here, and the last time, him and I kind of had a back and forth. Appreciate your demeanor today. It's quite different. But after you left here, you got pretty excited about the keyboard. In fact, you tweeted at me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And let me read what the last one said. It said, "Greedy CEO who pretends like he's self-made." Sir, I wish he was in the truck with me when I was building my plumbing company. Myself and my wife was running the office because I sure remember working pretty hard and long hours. Pretends like he's self-made. What a clown. Fraud. Always has been, always will be. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be 2 consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your
All right.
solution every
Hold it. No, sit down. Sit down.
Okay.
This is a hearing. And God knows the American people have enough of contempt for Congress. Let's not
I don't
make
like
it worse.
thugs and bullies.
You have,
And that's
you
what-
have,
I don't like you because you
Hold
just
it.
described yourself.
hold it.
I want to expose this thug to who he is. And
Could you not point at me? That's disrespectful.
All right.
I don't care about respecting you at all. I respect
don't
people that
respect you at all.
respect. So
All right, hold it.
let me
Hold it. No.
You're one of
Now,
100 of the most
hold
elite
it,
people.
please.
Act it.
Please. All right? But we're not here to talk about fights or anything else.
I'm quoting exactly what he said.
You can
and
say
this
what
is-
you want,
This is
but-
your witness
This
you
is
brought.
my
And let me.
witness.
I'm exposing him.
You can
as a
talk
person
anything you
who
want.
is.
Senator Mullin, you made some charges.
Charges?
Mr. O'Brien, do you want to respond to
Yeah, go
the
ahead,
question?
please.
Yeah, I mean, look, the reality of it is,
Accept my challenge,
Mr.
tough guy.
Mullen, tough guy.
Hold it. Answer the questions.
All right, y'all want, he
Please.
made a lot of statements, right? And his statements are fiction at best.
Fiction. I read them.
Can he answer?
What?
You said anytime, any place. I'm accepting yours. So why don't you come
What
back?
challenge? What challenge are you talking
April
about?
30th. How about we do it for a charity at the Smoking Guns in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
No,
We're not going to be
what was the
talking about
challenge?
physical confrontations here.
You want to fight me?
What'd you say about anytime, any place?
Let's have coffee, discuss our differences.
Oh, that's what you said.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
All right, well, let's sit down and have coffee.
Let's
I'd
do
love
it.
to.
All right.
I'd love to.
But the-
It's funny how you're backing out.
Okay.
I don't back on anything.
You did.
You're the one. You're a 100.
Senator-
Should be the most influential people in this country making changes.
Senator
You're
Hassan-
focused on.
Okay.
Why-
You're
Thank
focused
you.
on
Why did
debate
you-
that's not
why-
even relevant.
keep texting
You're an
me and they-
embarrassment.
Silence.
You're an embarrassment.
They
Well,
went
look,
silence after
You're an embarrassment to the
text.
state of
This
Oklahoma.
hearing is about the condition of the working class in America.
He's a senator.
Get your butt
Dana.
up, Allison. You get your butt up.
Cowboy. This is a guy, by the way, who you've seen photos of him like kind of like along the lines of Josh Hawley, giving the fist pump to the insurrectionists and then running for his life inside the halls of Congress. You can see Markwayne Mullins like ducking down when the Capitol was under attack and hiding and cowering. And then, of course, we also know that there's a viral picture of him debating his opponent where he needs to stand on I think like a 8 or 10 inch box so that he appears the same height as his opponent, which to me is, again, gender affirming care. But that's this guy. That's Markwayne Mullins, always posting pictures of him working out and having guns and stuff.
No, good
But
Lord.
wait, there's more. Rep Moskowitz, who I love, confronted Jim Comer about those farmland swaps that we reported on this week that funneled thousands of dollars to his brother, Chad Comer. Let's listen to that.
But you and Goldman, who is Mr. Trust Fund, continue to try to
reclaiming my
discredit-
time.
No, I'm not going to give you your time back. We can stop the clock. You all continue to. You look like a Smurf here, just going around and all this stuff. Now listen,
Mr. Chairman, you
No,
have.
I'm going to tell you something.
Hold on. If we're not on time,
to
we
spew
can just,
disinformation.
You have gone on TV and said the president did something illegal. You're doing stuff with your brother. The American people have the same questions. Why should they believe you? Why should they believe you? Why should they believe you? There's a different rule for the president. There's a different rule for you. Why should they believe what you're saying, Mr. Chairman? Why? You go on Fox News and say loans and deals are a way to evade taxes. We don't know that's what you're doing or not. We don't know. We have no idea. We're supposed to take your word for it. But when the president
you've
says
already
something,
been
he's not
proven a
telling the
liar,
truth.
Mr. Moskowitz.
What's that?
You've already been proven a liar.
Who's proven me a liar? You?
Yes.
Your word means nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Go to my hometown. There's a camera crew there today, an opposition research crew there today.
Mr. Chairman, this seems to have gotten under your skin.
I'll pay for your ticket.
I think the American people have lots of questions, Mr. Chairman, and perhaps you should sit maybe for a deposition.
I will be happy.
He got mad.
Yeah. He sure did. Me thinketh Comer doth protest too much. But despite the Republican shit show on the Hill, Democrats managed to save the day. First, they lent votes to pass a clean CR that will fund most of the government until January 19th and the rest, the DOD and the DHS, through February 2nd. Of course, this bill has no funding for Ukraine, Israel, the Indo-Pacific, or the border. Those have been punted until after Thanksgiving. But it also has no cuts. And that's why McCarthy was fired. So we'll see. We'll see what happens to McCarthy's job. Get the head of lettuce ready. And Democrats in the Senate Rules Committee have advanced a resolution to promote all the armed forces nominees being blocked by Tuberville through a rules change. It passed out of the Rules Committee on a party line vote, with all 9 Democrats voting for promoting military nominees and all 7 Republicans voting against the military. It will now go to the full Senate, where it will need 60 votes to pass, but McConnell is against it. We'll see where Republicans' loyalties lie, with the military or with Mitch.
Oh, he's such a evil, evil man. All right, AG, this is from Dennis Romero at NBC. And it seems a former Fox News Capitol Hill reporter and producer has sued the network, claiming he was fired for challenging its on-air lies about the 2020 election. Jason Donner, he alleges in a lawsuit that Fox News knew President Donald Trump's claims that voter fraud was behind his 2020 loss, that they were false, but that following backlash from Trump and the network's audience over its Election Day announcement that President Joe Biden had won Arizona, it purged journalists who spoke out against this false election fraud claim. And this is a quote, "To win back viewership and pledge its loyalty to President Trump, Fox's corporate leadership purged the news division and those reporters who spoke out against claims of election fraud." This is what the suit says. It was filed in Washington, D.C. in the Superior Court. Now, the wrongful termination and discrimination claim, it seeks undisclosed damages and expenses, as well as a judgment that would prohibit Fox News from discriminating or retaliating against Donner or other current or former Fox News employees. Though it was filed September 27th, the lawsuit did not come to light until Monday in a report by the Daily Beast. And Mr. Donner's lawsuit speaks for itself, and we have no further comment beyond that. That's from plaintiff's lawyer Brendan Klaproth. He said that in an email. Now, neither a Fox News spokesperson nor lawyers for the network responded to the request for comment, not surprising. Now, the suit claims the network, and I quote, immediately capitulated to Trump after he denounced it. Post-election layoffs included the reporter who made the announcement on the air, Chris Steiwalt, and about 20 other journalists. This is what the suit says. Now, the filing cites text messages between Lachlan Murdoch, who's a co-chair of Fox News' parent company, News Corp, and the network's CEO, Suzanne Scott, in which Scott is quoted as saying the network's Arizona call was, and I quote, damaging, but we will highlight our stars and plant flags letting the viewers know we hear them and respect them. No, you don't. A News Corp spokesperson did not immediately respond to an inquiry seeking comment from Murdoch or his representatives at the company. Well, according to the suit, Donner was reprimanded and prohibited from expressing opinions when on November 19, 2020, he posted on Twitter, which is obviously now X, that Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani claimed voter fraud in Philadelphia, but told a Pennsylvania court, this is not a fraud case. Well, Fox News became a toxic environment for journalists with allegiance to the truth, the suit says, and the toxicity reached a peak on January 6th, of course, of 2021, when Trump supporters stormed the Capitol in an attempt to thwart the counting of electoral votes certifying Biden's victory. Donner was working in the Senate's radio and television correspondence gallery when the Capitol was breached. This is what the claim says. Now, if the Capitol began to be attacked, he said he sought refuge inside Fox News' booth as the network reported that rioters were peaceful. That they were peaceful. That's according to the suit. Later, as violence continued, including gunshots, a Fox News reporter said of rioters on the air, according to this claim, when you hear their voices, you can understand why they were severely disappointed. I mean, come on. Donner called the Fox News control room. That's according to filing, and said, and I quote, I don't want to hear any of this fucking shit on our air ever again because you're going to get us all killed. Well, yeah, seems pretty valid. The suit cites information including the Dominion Voting Systems 2021 claim against Fox News, in which the voting machine maker said the broadcaster defamed it by airing claims that it was tied to the late Venezuelan president Hugo Chavez, paid kickbacks to politicians, and deployed machines that rigged the vote against Trump. All that bullshit. Fox News settled that suit, as we know, for $787.5 million. We acknowledge the court's rulings finding certain claims about Dominion to be false, the network said in a statement after the April settlement. Now, Donner's political discrimination claims. He says he was a lifelong Republican, but voted Democrat in recent elections. Now, are based on the District of Columbia Human Rights Act, which prohibits workplace bias based on political affiliation.
Yeah, and you remember, Dana, you and I talked about the fact that admission by Fox News about Dominion would open up a floodgate of all kinds of lawsuits, and this is one of them.
Absolutely.
All right, next up from Michael Shear at the New York Times. The United States has intelligence that shows that Hamas has been using hospitals in Gaza, including Al-Shifa, as command centers and ammunition depots. A spokesperson for the National Security Council said that on Tuesday. John Kirby, the spokesman, said that the intelligence gathered from American-generated sources supported Israel's allegation that Hamas had been operating out of hospitals, which Mr. Kirby said amounted to a war crime. Mr. Kirby declined to provide details about the U.S. intelligence, but he made clear that it goes beyond the information collected by the Israeli intelligence service. Quote, it comes from a variety of intelligence methods of our own, he said, adding that the classification of the intelligence had been downgraded so that it could be shared publicly. I can confirm for you that we have information that Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad use some hospitals in the Gaza Strip, including Al-Shifa, and tunnels underneath them to conceal and support their military operations and to hold hostages. That's what Mr. Kirby told reporters on Air Force One as President Biden headed to San Francisco for a summit with Asia-Pacific leaders. Hamas and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, the JID, the members of those groups operate command and control nodes from Al-Shifa in Gaza City, he said. They have stored weapons there, and they've prepared to respond to an Israeli military operation against that facility. The revelation of this U.S. intelligence comes as Israel is under harsh international criticism for attacks on and around hospitals as it conducts a war against Hamas in the wake of the armed group's terrorist attacks on Israel on October 7th. Israel says more than 1,200 people were killed in the attacks and that 239 others remain hostages. During Israel's ensuing military campaign to eradicate Hamas, it has repeatedly said that its military seeks to avoid casualties among civilians, including patients and doctors at hospitals, but they have insisted that Hamas uses such people as human shields. Now, Mr. Kirby says the United States does not support the attacks from air on hospitals. Okay? We do not support the attacks from the air on the hospitals in Gaza, despite what he said was the confirmed use of facilities by Hamas. We do not support this. The United States does not support it. We do not support striking of a hospital from the air, and we do not want to see a firefight in a hospital where innocent people, helpless people, sick people are simply trying to get the medical care that they deserve, not to be caught in the crossfire. Hospitals and patients must be protected. He called that concern an added burden for Israel in its military campaign against Hamas. Now, Palestinian officials and doctors at Al-Shifa have denied that the hospital has been used by Hamas. But Mr. Kirby says that the newly revealed U.S. intelligence supported Israel's arguments as its military closed in on the hospital. But again, they do not support airstrikes on these hospitals. Well, the U.S. doesn't. Israel does. Quote, we have information that confirms that Hamas is using that particular hospital for a command and control node and is probably the storage for equipment like weapons underneath it, he said. This is a war crime.
Oh, goodness. Thank you so much, AG. All right, last in this segment, this is from Reuters. Now, a former fundraiser, we've talked about this in the past, for who? Indicted U.S. Representative George Santos, if that is your real name, pleaded guilty to defrauding campaign donors on Tuesday, adding to the pressure on the embattled New York Republican. Now, at a hearing in federal court in Long Island, Samuel Millet, 27, admitted to impersonating a staffer for another member of Congress in soliciting campaign contributions and to charging donors credit cards without their consent. Well, U.S. District Judge Joanna Seibert accepted the plea to one count of wire fraud, part of an agreement with federal prosecutors, and set Millet's sentencing for April 30th. Defrauding potential political contributors undermines our democracy. That was from Breon Peace, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York. That was said in a statement. Now, there was no indication that Millet was cooperating with the prosecutor's probe of Santos. It's really hard for me to read probe of Santos and not start giggling. Sorry. Santos's lawyer, Joseph Murray, was present at the hearing. He declined to comment on Millet's guilty plea. Santos, as we know, is the first-term congressman. In May, he pleaded not guilty to federal charges of laundering funds to pay for his personal expenses, illegally receiving unemployment benefits, and lying to the House of Representatives about everything. I mean, his assets. He pleaded not guilty in October to an updated indictment accusing him of charging campaign donors credit cards without their consent and reporting a bogus $500,000 campaign loan. While trials set for September 9th of 2024, Santos has admitted to lying about much of his resume, but he has resisted calls for his resignation, including from fellow Republicans. Now, Millet, who was charged in August, has previously pleaded not guilty, by the way. At the hearing, Millet said that in 2021, he pretended he was chief of staff to the then minority leader of the U.S. House of Representatives to help the candidate he was working for raise funds without naming either politician. I'm shocked anyone knew who they were. Now, former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has confirmed media reports that said Millet impersonated one of his aides to elicit contributions to Santos's campaign. And they're still not calling for his fucking resignation. Now, Milei took a 15% cut on funds raised through the scheme. Prosecutors said that. And on Tuesday, he agreed to pay nearly $110,000 in restitution and forfeit nearly $70,000. And this is a quote from Kevin Marino, the defense lawyer. He says he recognized the mistake that he made. Well, I'm sure he did. Milei is the second person close to Santos to plead guilty to federal charges in recent weeks. Nancy Marks, who's Santos's former campaign treasurer, also pleaded guilty on October 5th to a conspiracy charge for inflating his 2022 congressional campaign's fundraising numbers. So it's really fucking hard to believe that everyone around him was committing fraud and George Santos had no idea what was happening after he's lied about everything in his life.
Mm-hmm. And if they do get the testimony of these folks in court against Santos, he's going down. His trial's in September.
Be a beautiful thing.
He might want to plead and resign and, I don't know, move back to Brazil or something.
Get extradited would be nice.
It's not going to go well for
No.
It's not going to go well for him. All right, we'll be back with the host of the Lights On podcast, Jessica Denson, and an update on her lawsuit against Trump non-disclosure agreements. Stay with us.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, it's AG. You know I used to have a difficult time sleeping. I thought it was anxiety. I thought it was the orange man in the White House. I would toss and turn every night, wake up feeling groggy and sore every morning. As it turns out, I was sleeping on a mattress made for somebody else. But then I got my custom mattress from Helix Sleep and all those issues went away, and now I wake up every day feeling fresh and ready to go. Just go to helixsleep.com/dailybeans, take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match it to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. Helix is offering 25% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for listeners in honor of Black Friday. Go to helixsleep.com/dailybeans and use code HelixPartner25. You can explore the Helix lineup of 20 unique mattresses, including the award-winning Luxe and the innovative Helix Elite collections, plus specialized options for big and tall sleepers and even kids. They've got mattresses for everyone, no matter how unique your sleep preferences are. Unsure which to choose? Take that Helix Sleep quiz I was talking about. You'll get matched with your ideal mattress in just 2 minutes. It'll be shipped to your door free of charge. I took the quiz. As you know, I was matched with the Helix Midnight because I like a medium firm mattress and I sleep on my side. The comfort is unmatched. It's head and shoulders above any other mattress I've ever owned. I'm sleeping better than ever. Setup was a breeze. And with Helix, experience the comfort of a 100-night in-home trial and a 10 or 15-year warranty to make sure Helix is the perfect fit for you. No more mattress stores in your future. Yay. Now the best sleep of your life is just a quiz away with Helix. Helix is offering 25% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for listeners in honor of Black Friday. Go to helixsleep.com/dailybeans and use code HelixPartner25. This is their best offer yet, and it won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Today, we're bringing back a good friend of mine. She's the host of the Lights On podcast on the Midas Touch Network. Excellent network over there at Midas Touch. You need to check it out. She's been on the lead at CNN. She is incredible. She has a huge win she's going to tell us about, an update from the last time she was on the show. Please welcome Jessica Denson.
Allison, so great to be back with you. Thank you.
I always love these meetups where we get to talk about good news.
I know.
So you tweeted on October 11th, massive win in the midst of dark times. It was a beautiful and victorious day in a New York courthouse where Judge, how do you pronounce the judge's name?
Well, I always say Gardefee.
Gardefee,
yeah,
ordered our class action settlement into law, forever avoiding hundreds of Trump NDAs. Massive victory for truth and democracy. No more excuses for silence. Let's talk, because we had you on, we talked about this lawsuit. We talked about the class action, all of the years that, you've been fighting this battle, and you finally won it. Talk about that.
Oh my goodness, Allison. It was just so beautiful. I mean, complete sweeping victory. We, as you know, as I talked about with you last time I was on, I've been fighting this in and out of arbitration, in and out of the courts. You know, I had some personal, just crushing defeats in the midst of this that I overcame, living through a $50,000 illegal judgment that was entered against me during the Trump campaign, having that overturned, and just continuing this fight, growing my legal team, starting literally with no lawyer and then ending up with 2 lawyers and then the expanded team from Protect Democracy and Ballard Spahr, who have done amazing work. And we got it to this final point about a year ago. We were ordered by the court to go to mediation because we had I had been victorious on an individual level. That's one of the things we talked about last time. I got that individual victory that declared the NDA invalid pertaining to me. And we wanted to push forward. We wanted to make sure that everybody who signed this agreement knew that it was invalid and unenforceable, and that every mechanism possible to enforce it was permanently legally removed. And so that's why we pushed, even after I won, the Trump campaign started raising the white flag and saying, this is over. We won't enforce these things anymore. And we're like, yeah, your word's good for nothing. We're going to get this into a court order. And we're also going to make sure that these literally hundreds of third parties, including Donald Trump himself, his children, his companies, they were all purportedly empowered to enforce this. And so we pushed forward till the end to get an injunction prohibiting enforcement. And that was part of what came out of that mediation, a complete concession from the campaign. Yes, you can have your injunction. Yes, you can have your legal fees. And by the way, this was not a case for damages. This was just a declaratory case. So the legal fees that we got and the incentive fee that I got were just fees. That's all that was expected. Yeah, costs, exactly. So we got that, and it was just a complete victory in the end.
Oh, that is so amazing to hear. It gives me hope because, as you know, I just filed lawsuit against Donald Trump myself. So it's doable. That's good. That's good news.
It is.
But I think what's amazing about this is that you wanted to fight on for everyone who signed these, and not just in a personal capacity, but in any, business capacity of the Trump organization or whatever is left of it once the New York civil fraud trial is over. But that doesn't mean he won't start a new thing in Florida and have NDAs. And now he cannot, or at least enforce this one or these NDAs. So I think that that's incredible. Now, what can we look forward to from people who are now no longer bound by these NDAs talking?
Well, my God, Allison, like I said in that tweet, no more excuses for silence, right? This was a real legal hurdle to people exercising their First Amendment rights. That is entirely removed. The fear of being targeted, of having your financial well-being threatened, as mine was, of any kind of legal retribution is gone. That is gone from the calculus.
Yeah, and let's be clear too, because it's not just threatening your financial. It could completely bankrupt people.
Absolutely. That's the position I was put in. I mean, until I was facing bankruptcy because there was first of all, I didn't have the money to pay a $50,000 judgment against me. Second of all, there was no way in hell that I was going to be turning over any money of mine to the Trump campaign. And that's exactly, yes, that was the threat, bankruptcy. Absolutely. And so that's gone. And like I said, I hope and pray that these individuals take this opportunity to be real patriots, to understand the threat that we're facing, and with all of the calculations that go into their decision-making process. And I understand there are many. I'm kind of a rebel. I am not the norm in the Trump crowd. But I know there are people out there, and there's all kinds of people that you've never heard of, from volunteers to low-level staffers, people whose names you've never seen floated in the news, that I know have a conscience. And I hope they kind of go deep into that well of where they exist in history. I'm always kind of putting myself like, what is my role in history? What is all of our roles? And understand this threat that we're facing. And if they see clearly now, which God, I hope they do, that they will take this opportunity to not just engage publicly, but can engage in their communities, engage in any way to speak the truth that they know. We desperately need it.
Yeah. And, they didn't have to fight that fight.
Yeah.
You did all that, and your class action and your legal team, your incredible legal team. And so that has to be an additional incentive.
Absolutely. To
come forward and speak. But I do understand, I spoke to Miles Taylor, who wrote Blowback, and he had discussions with all kinds of his colleagues about why they wouldn't speak out. Financial burden is one of them, but there are like many, many reasons. And a lot of it was tribalism, and that people just had a hard time getting away from that. So hopefully taking this this particular set of chains off hopefully really frees people up to come out and speak the truth, which I know is what you're doing on your podcast. It's called Lights On because sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Amen.
As is, indoor lights, anything where we can shine light on anything. But you know what they mean. So let's talk about that. When you started your podcast, why you started your podcast, how it's going.
Yeah, I started it, 7-8 months ago. And I did it, Allison, for a couple reasons. One was because I had been doing some panel appearances primarily over the J6 hearings on the Midas Touch Network. And I had just been getting an overwhelming amount of feedback asking me to start a podcast. And you are very talented in this realm. This is not something I ever dreamed of doing myself. To be honest with you, it was not on my, in my plans at all. But I did it partially because of the requests and also because of something that is no secret. And I've only recently been more outspoken about this. And when I say recently, I mean like 2 weeks ago. My story has been woefully undercovered by the media. I mean, basically not reported. You mentioned I was on the lead on CNN back in 2020. It was because I did an ad for Joe Biden for the group at the time was called Republican Voters Against Trump. And he had me on one time and did not have me back when I won that individual victory in 2021. CNN didn't cover it at all. MSNBC covered it minimally, has often detached my name or my existence from reporting, some male anchors on MSNBC from the reporting my story. I think this is a real disservice to the American people. As you started off talking about your lawsuit and how it gives you hope, we need that. We need to see how our judicial system functions and works when we apply it and how it can defeat Donald Trump. I mean, I've been doing this for years, literally since 2018, when I was a pro se litigant. I've been beating Trump in court. The American people need to hear these kinds of stories.
Yeah, I don't know why the media shies away from talking about winning.
I know. It's like I said, it's really a disservice. We had this massive discussion just over the weekend about certain papers finally reporting Trump's comments about comparing political foes to vermin as Nazi propaganda, and the importance of reporting things
like
correctly.
Taking a blood out of a stone. It was like, hey, guys, it's right there. Like, the thing I don't understand, these are profit centers, okay?
Yeah.
Folks like you, this podcast, we're living proof that people want to hear this kind of news.
Yeah.
For mainstream media, there's money to be made there.
Exactly.
I don't understand. It's like with the healthcare system in this country. Like, it's way cheaper to have Medicare for all than if it's about money, so that, if it's not about money, what is it about? But that there's money to be made there too. People want to hear these stories. People are hungry for this kind of news. I've noticed, and I'm sure you've noticed in just the 7 or 8 months that you've been podcasting.
Absolutely.
That people are like, oh, thank God, I'm finally getting this story, whatever story it is you're reporting. People want that. And so I'm
absolutely
frankly baffled as to why they aren't.
Yeah. Well, I could give you some more sinister thoughts, but I'm gonna spare them that for this very moment and just say, take the opportunity. Here we are. Tell our good stories. But absolutely. And I talked about, I had Mary Trump on a couple of weeks ago when I was talking about this, and we were talking about, the kind of discouragement that goes into not reporting this. And she called it a self-fulfilling prophecy, which I totally agree with. They're basically doing the bidding of these forces that want to take American democracy away. And we have to call them out and demand that they do better. I come to this way back when, as a journalism student, I was a roving reporter in college, and I really I care about good reporting and good journalism. It's the fourth estate. It's one of the pillars of what makes us free. We have to do better.
Yeah, and remind them that they will be the first to go.
Yeah,
in a fascist regime. Like, do you think that he's going to be like, oh, great, I love you, media, and I just they'll be the first to go. So I don't. It seems like they're imperiling themselves. But
yeah,
we could talk for days about media.
Yeah.
So where next? I know you've got other stuff going on. What's the next thing?
Well, daily survival and
get up, breathe, make it through the day.
Yeah,
and then
I am. You know what? It's funny because I am writing my book now. You know, I've been speaking out for years. I didn't, as you know, wait to write a book, but I'm finally doing that for myself now. And I had this pit in my stomach yesterday, and I couldn't quite figure it out. I was like, is it the war in the Middle East? Is it, I think it was really like the fear that Donald Trump, like for some reason, it really came home to me that, my God, this man really could get in the White House again. And we, you know, have to absolutely do everything in our power to stop this. So I am on like a fast track to get my book finished and get it out as soon as possible, because we're only going to live this moment once. And my God, we have to do everything in our power to stop him.
Yeah. And I hope you'll come back on and talk to us when the book comes out. I look forward to reading it.
Absolutely. I would love to.
Yeah, I'm tired of living, my friends, I'm tired of living through historic times.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, remember the days, remember like 2013 when you didn't know who the chief of staff was? And you know,
I know.
We're in very different times. So I look forward to your book, and everybody needs to check out your podcast. It's called Lights On. It's on the Midas Touch Network. I love the Mighty Midas. They are awesome dudes. So I'm really encouraging everybody to check it out. Thanks so much, Jessica Denson.
Thank you, Allison. Always a pleasure.
Everybody stick around. We'll be right back with the good news. Everybody, welcome back. It's time for the good news.
Who likes good news, everyone? Then good news, everyone.
Good news. And if you have any good news, confessions, corrections, you want to play What the Animal, I mean, whatever it is.
Anything. I don't think we'd be very good at like amphibians. I mean, to be honest with you, if people start sending salamanders and shit.
Yeah, some kind of weird spider, and we have to come up with the Latin name for it.
Do not.
Uh-oh. Guess what you just did?
I know. As soon as a part of me is like, Desiree, edit that out, but I know you're going to leave it.
Everybody send us shout outs to loved ones, your kids, shit kids say, shit your parents say, shit you say. If you want to send us frog orgy photos, baby pictures, especially we love baby pictures, holiday pictures. If you don't have pod pet tax to pay, you can send us an adoptable pet in your area. Anything you want, send it to us at dailybeanspod.com. Just click on contact. First up from Carolyn, pronouns she and her. Hello to all the Leguminati. I'm so giddy to share my good news. I'll start by noting that I have a theater kid who only discovered their passion in the last 4 years. They've been scoring bigger and bigger roles in their high school productions and seeing shows in SoCal. But this weekend, I took them on a solo mother theater kid trip to New York to see Sweeney Todd on Broadway, and an astounding one-man show on Shakespearean villains off-Broadway. It was the perfect first New York trip for anyone. We met Patrick Page, the original Hades from Hadestown, among many other credits, and the star of the one-man show. And perhaps more importantly, Page's dog, Georgie, and got to tell many Sweeney cast members how much we appreciated their astounding performances. It was a lovely diversion from the shit show that is our news cycle. I'm back in sunny San Diego, ready to be back at it. Would you ever consider a Beans event in San Diego? I'd go in a heartbeat. You'd probably have to find a place where everyone doesn't know your name, since you have so many connections here. For Pod Pet, I give you my kid, Pod Pet tax. I give you my kid with Mr. Page's dog. Then Page himself, and finally Bernadette, the theater puppy from a recent high school production.
Oh my goodness. These photos are fantastic. I love that you had such a great trip to Broadway. That's amazing. New York's a special place.
Yep, theater kids are the best.
They sure are. All right, this next one is from Juananimous, pronouns he and him. I swear to God, that's how it's spelled. Leguminati. I want to give a huge shout out to an amazing woman who has dedicated her life to making this world a better place. Juananimous, thank you so much for this. Just kidding. When I first met her, she was a volunteer building schools in my hometown of Tijuana, Mexico. I fell in love with her kindness, generosity, and passion for positive change. She taught me how to be a feminist and an ally. She even helped me become someone I could love. What a beautiful sentence. My God. Now, for the last 20 years, I've had the privilege to watch her grow into a powerful force for good, using her expanded platform to help more and more people. Well, tonight, as patrons are listening to this, she's at a gala she is in charge of, fundraising to help people who are battling addiction. This is the last year that she will be in charge of this event, and I'd love to honor her by helping her reach their goal. We're going to include that link in the show notes, by the way, for anyone who would like to donate to this foundation. It's called Caron, C-A-R-O-N. It's in Greater Philadelphia. I will throw in a little bonus. My mother's secret ingredient for refried beans. When blended them, add charred onions. Basically, fry the onions like you're playing a game of chicken with your smoke detector, and it will give them that amazing umami taste. Also, thank you for giving into my demand for weekend beans. You may now use your original logo, or this modified version without the Comic Sans.
Thank you.
That is hysterical. Look at that logo for the refried beans. Now with 29% more beans.
Our producer says, I'm not sure that math is correct. Going from 5 to 7 is a 40% increase. They're doing 5 out of 7 increase to 7 out of 7, 28.6% and rounding up. Just depends on how you figure it, I guess. Your week now has 29% more beans, or the Daily Beans has increased its episode output by 40%. Thank you to our production crew.
Yeah, y'all just nerded the fuck out. Oh my God.
Oh, absolutely love it. I love going through these old episodes, by the way, too, listening to old Beans episodes and deciding what we're going to refry for the weekend. And it's, the Charismatic Megaplastics will be coming up on January 5th. We're going to play that one on January 5th. So, look out for it. It's going to be good. We've got a lot of really great old episodes in there. So anyway, next up from Anonymous, pronouns she and her. Good day, Beans Queens. My local school district is being sued over transgender students using a bathroom that matches their gender identity, which is essentially upholding what courts have said here in Michigan. I walked into our school board meeting last night and was immediately uplifted. My child's choir and classmates performed at the start of the meeting, talking about the character traits their school focuses on. But when I walked into that immediately, I felt a warm fuzzy when there was a group of about 25 LGBTQ plus advocates there to speak on behalf of the transgender students being bullied by adults in the district. 2 parents spoke and shamed them about their beliefs and that they can be cured. But everyone else who spoke advocated for all student safety and especially the mental health and concerns for the LGBTQ students in the district. It was a wonderful outpouring of love. Our school board is rather conservative, but by school board rules, they were required to sit there and listen. It was fantastic. For my pod pet tax, here's a photo of the newest pet in our house. It should be pretty easy to identify what he is. Thanks for keeping us informed and for being a catalyst for my conservative-leaning husband to become one of the most liberal people in my life.
Oh, how lovely. And I know what this is. It's a beta fish.
It's a beta fish.
It's a beta fish. We got 1 for 1. We got 1 for 1 on Guess This Animal. I feel good about that.
So we're 100% so far.
That's right. Oh God, please don't start a segment called Dish Dish Fish. Okay. Next up, we've got Kevin, pronouns he and him. Hey, AG and DG. Greetings from the Great White North, which today is looking pretty darn great in white snow. I've sent emails before, but never had the opportunity to hear them on the podcast. So I hope this one gets through. Kevin, it has indeed. It's little bits of good news surrounding some disappointing outlook, and I was hoping for your thoughts. First off, the UK looks to be headed for the biggest progressive upset in recent memory in the inevitable elections next year. The downside is this is due to the unmitigated disaster of conservative policies, austerity, and incompetence, and has left the country reeling. It culminated on the weekend, Veterans Day, Armistice Day, or Remembrance Day, depending on where you're from, with a mass of angry racist hooligans trying to storm the London cenotaph, looking for violence and attacking police at the bequest of the Homeland Secretary. She was fired, but only after the events and when the backlash appeared to be going against the government. My God, this thing's like, does that sound familiar to anybody? That's not from the submission. My real fear with the wave of conservative grievance culture is my own country, Canada, is looking to potentially flip in the next election to more of these conservative culture war theatrics, as their current leader is cut from the same incompetent Trump cloth. I know you're American focused and I value your insider news, but will you be covering some of these other occurrences more in the future? Maybe a Worldly Beans segment? Oh my God, everyone's so amazing. Worldly Beans. LOL. Okay, to end this on a positive note, professional women's hockey is back with potentially one of the best chances of succeeding yet. The PWHL has held its draft, launching its jerseys, and is preparing for a January puck drop date. With the soccer season now ended, maybe we can hype up these ladies and their support and ensure this league stay as long as they can, as long as the NHL. I'll get my tickets to the closest home opener as soon as they're available. Lastly, for pet tax, here are our feline family companions. Ronnie James Meow, white on the nose. Alice Cooper, white chest, but no white on the nose. And Lemmy Kilmouseter, no white on the nose. No white on him at all, actually.
Oh, I love it. Alice Cooper, Lemmy from Motorhead, Ronnie James Dio. This is so great. Look at these babies.
They're sweet, that last picture. My goodness, they really are beautiful kitties.
The one with the white on the nose seems very... He seems very mischievous. Very cute. Thank you very much for that. Awesome. Yeah, let's support women's hockey. That's going to be a cool league. Next up from Paul, pronouns he and him, 2 pieces of the best kind of news. First, a couple weeks ago, my amazing daughter was able to take a few days off her busy med school schedule to marry her equally amazing partner. It was a beautiful fall day for the wedding, and it was amazing all the support the girls got from all their friends and family, including a picture of my wife and I with our original daughter and our new daughter, all in our proud footwear. The second piece of good news is that we adopted 2 kittens. We've always been a multiple cat family, but due to a few trips across the Rainbow Bridge in the last few years, we're down to just 1 cat, Eloise. As luck would have it, our amazing niece, St. Francis of Milwaukee, was fostering 2 brothers from a local shelter. We went to see them and, of course, fell in love. Their names are Ollie, gray and white, and Pip, Ollie and Pip. Pip is the tiger stripe, including a picture of them quickly getting used to their new surroundings and quote-unquote hanging out. In the hanging out picture, you can see Eloise in the background showing how unimpressed she is with her new brothers. She's making progress and is no longer sulking in the basement. Love you both, and thanks for all you do.
Oh, my goodness. Look at this lovely couple. Oh, they're beautiful.
Those 2 trees with the bunting and the flowers.
I'm looking at the lesbians gorgeous. And you're like, those 2 trees. Look at all of the shoes. Look at the rainbow shoes. Oh my God.
I noticed that first, and it's beautiful. And then you commented on that, and I just wanted to throw in the setting is amazing. It's beautiful.
It really is absolutely gorgeous.
The dresses are exquisite.
Yes, everything. The kittens.
Oh my God. They're climbing up the screen door like kittens do, and Eloise is like, God fucking damn it.
Kittens.
Look at these little beans. They're adorable.
They are.
Congratulations on the beautiful wedding and your new daughter. That's wonderful, brilliant, beautiful.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, everyone, for your submissions. These were great today. Very uplifting. We need that. If you've got something you want to send to us, you can do it by going to dailybeanspod.com and clicking on contact. There's a new episode of Cleanup on L45 out today with me and Pete Strzok. You don't want to miss that. And yeah, we'll be back in your ears tomorrow with some more beans. You got any thoughts before we get out of here, my friend?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, everybody, we'll see you tomorrow. Until then, please take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet, take care of your mental health, take care of your family. Vote blue over Q.
And please take everyone you know with you.
I've been AG.
And I've been DG.
And them's the beans. The Daily Beans is written and executive produced by Allison Gill with additional research and reporting by Dana Goldberg. Sound design and editing is by Desiree McFarlane, with art and web design by Joelle Reeder with Moxie Design Studios. Music for the Daily Beans is written and performed by They Might Be Giants, and the show is a proud member of the MSW Media Network, a collection of creator-owned podcasts dedicated to news, politics, and justice. For more information, please visit mswmedia.com.
MSW Media.